And it looks like we're off, and just about everyone's starting off in Link's house.
Looks like we have some sign carry strats.
Very common strat to get that first tree pull to see what's in the tier 1 tree pull here.
Yeah, we just have a little bit of magic, so not overly helpful yet.
And Uncle gives us Vanilla Sword. That'll be nice.
Is this even rando?
I don't know. We gotta double check it. But we do get the 300 rupees, so we know that they're not going to have to farm up much of anything, and if they want to, they can just go ahead and buy some bombs in Kakariko. That'll save some significant time on farming anything.
Yeah, and it looks like 2 of our runners are actually taking that sword and putting it to good use by doing the front of escape while they're here.
I always like that heads up. Most people, once they finish with Uncle and in that little area, they will go ahead and move on out and go to Kakariko, but it's a good heads-up play knowing I have the sword, I'm already here, you save some time. And it looks like they pulled the hammer out of Sanctuary chest. What?
Yeah, this is a really nice quick start for our runners, so it doesn't look like the hammer's going to be the troll item today. I'm already off the board.
It's alright. We don't count these for internet points or anything. Alright, so we see Gloin and Liminality are both on their way through escape. Meanwhile, we're checking Lumberjack, and it just looks like some bombs. Meanwhile, sonicam and AttackTheMusic are holding hands effectively. And we have our first map check. Looked like it was the green pendant that was up at Tower of Hera, and then crystals 1 and 3 in Eastern and Desert.
Yeah, and AttackTheMusic had a 4 bomb drop that was sitting in a place he couldn't grab it.
Sarah Zelda asking, is this a large race or just 4 people? No, it is a quite large race. I think we have 50 some odd racers that are all going through here. So these are our 4 featured racers, but we'll be keeping a side eye on the SRL channel to see if anyone finishes before these 4.
Yep, and we found the book sitting in the Lost Woods. And it looks like sonicam is giving us that early pedestal check.
You know what? sonicam knows what the people wants. This is for the people.
And it's a sword.
Oh my. It's not going to be required. We don't think. But
it could be.
Man. Vanilla sword. Wow.
We just need to find some swords on the tablets, and then we can have a required sword on the pedestal. So that's 2 vanilla swords and 1 seed, by the way.
Yep, not randomized. Alright, so we're seeing AttackTheMusic purchase some bombs while we see sonicam clearing out some other areas. And none of these 4 are in even remotely the same location, so right now I'm kind of having trouble bouncing around at the screens, keeping track of it all. It does look like that Gloin and Liminality have a bottle, so they'll be able to check Sick Kid as well while they're in Kakariko.
Yeah, that was I believe, in the second chest in Escape, so they, be able to have a more efficient initial Kakariko check here.
Sick Kid is one of those location checks that if you can route it in with other Kakariko checks, it's really helpful, but otherwise you can easily forget about that location.
Yeah, and even if you remember it, it's a long way to go if you don't have, say, Dark World access to check that one item.
And there's a lift upgrade for Attack the Music that's in Blind's Hut. Lift upgrade, that's one of our kind of the first round of overworld items you need to get Dark World access is at least one lift upgrade and the hammer and the moon pearl. Now you can also get the second lift upgrade in lieu of the hammer, but looking good so far for early Dark World access.
Yeah, at this point, if you were hoping for Aga, you're better keep hoping, because this for another seed. This is pretty much dead at this point.
I will say a quick shout out to both of our trackers, Number Play and D2 Kemps. Lot of items, and these runners are not in even remotely similar locations. They're doing work right at the moment, so shout out to those guys. And we have the flute also in Kakariko, so that'll be interesting. So those guys who were able to route in, escape, and got their bottle will be able to clear out Kakariko in its entirety, at least Kakariko proper, between the flute and the bottle. The other two will have to eventually find some way to route Sick Kid back in.
Yeah, but the good news is with that flute, it does take a little bit of time to flute back, but not nearly as much time as it takes to walk back. So it's not too much of a time loss for them. And we have our early swag ducks with Attack the Music and Sonicam.
Yep, looking solid here. And Attack the Music, checking to see what's in the library. Look like bombs, I think.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to YOLO the race game here.
I really like the idea of YOLOing the race strategy, particularly in Key Sanity, just because of the higher likelihood of keys being there. With this kind of stat Kakariko, though, it's a risk. We'll see. And it's a mirror!
Wow.
That gamble paying off for Attack the Music.
And Attack the Music is going towards Ice Rod Cave for their first check.
Interesting that they did Ice Rod Cave, and then I guess they'll flute away and hit Swamp Up. Gloin checking Sick Kid, just a piece of heart.
Yeah, with the sword and the mirror, Hera is in play if you do not need a fire source. With the flute.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we could be seeing a Vanilla Pearl.
Ooh, we could be. Pearl is the only thing that's really holding us back from Dark World access right now. So we'll see what other locations. Looks like sonicam's going to check the back end of Escape right now.
Yeah, and since we know there were 3 items in the front and 1 in Sanctuary, at most there'll be 2 here, but it is a good check to get out of the way.
I mean, it's a high-density location, all things. There's the key, there's the map, and the validation arrow. So that last item is back in the dark escape room.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going for it.
Attack the Music, taking the time to get the bloomerang. It's a soggy boomerang. All right, so we have Attack the Music. Looks like he's in the new Hype Cave, Mini Moldorm Cave.
We got Quake.
And it just looked like it was some rupees, I think, for Sonicam in that dark room. And we see Sonicam is going to go ahead and go up to do exactly what you were talking about. He's going to check the old man first. A bit of a sequence break here, but it's a fairly easy dark room to get through.
Yeah, and it's really nice to do this when you have flute early because the mountain cave is such a quick save and quit point to get full health and to get fluted away. So usually runners will try to get this in early when they get the flute.
Absolutely, it's a solid strategy. I think if you save and quit frequently, you just generally save and quit because you can get a full health refill at the same time. And we see Gloin checking 20 rupees on Desert Ledge. He's going to go ahead and go into Desert here.
And sonicam is getting dead rock blocked.
And man, these cabbages are savage.
Between the dead rocks and the cabbages, it's not been a kind death mountain for sonicam.
He hopes it's worth it. Will he see if it's worth it? And the Moon Pearl!
Man, it fell out of the tower and landed right on Spectacle Rock.
I'd say it was worth it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. So now he hasn't even been to South Shore yet, but he has a lot open to him now. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes next.
I imagine since he's in the area, he'll just do Tower. Oh, and we have our other check. Looks like Skullwoods and Ice Palace are going to be the other two pendants.
Yeah, I would imagine he'll do East Death Mountain while he's up here as well after Hera.
And chat pointing out, thank you so much, chat. Sahasrara had the Cane of Samaria.
We are certainly rolling in the nice early items here in the early game.
My goodness. Who made this seed? Who what? Can we blame Willard for this one? I don't think we can blame Willard for this one.
But it does look like Hera is fire source locked, so sonicam is leaving and checking Ether Tablet. This is a nice thing you can do. You can't get the item yet, but you can see what's there.
Change of clothes. So the red mail's going to be on there. All the runners currently have blue mail. Meanwhile, he is, with that hammer, going to go ahead and head over to the east side of Death Mountain. Solid play. Paradox Cave is here, and he doesn't have the lift upgrade, so he won't be able to check Dark World access. Dark World Death Mountain, but still a solid check here.
Yes, and it looked like Gloin got half magic in Desert.
Well, these four had a route divergence happen pretty quickly, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot going on.
All right, so sonicam getting ready to start his Paradox Cave check. Liminality is going to find out fairly quickly that he won't be able to do much of anything in Tower of Hera, but does get the Moon Pearl. And AttackTheMusic also finding more value with the flippers in Eastern. Water those. Okay, no, bad meme.
Yeah, and with the Dark World access for our other runners, it will be interesting to see when they actually make their way over for their cane and flippers.
And sonicam pulls another sword, so there's our Master Sword. And silvers, and lamp. All right, so that kind of changes things. Gloin now also making his way up to Death Mountain. So Attack the Music is kind of taking a completely different route. None of these other runners have actually stepped foot in Eastern yet, but keep in mind he found the cane and the flippers. So if he follows the flippers, for example, checks to see what's on Hobo, and then goes over and checks what's in Zora and that area, then he could be in pretty good shape if he then follows up by going up Death Mountain.
Yeah, and he could find items that our other runners won't see for a while if the flippers are blocking anything useful.
With as many items as sonicam, gloin, and liminality are going to end up getting up on the Death Mountain area, I wouldn't be surprised if they avoid Eastern Palace for quite a while. That, again, I think that could play into Attack the Music's play right at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be very uncommon for runners to have the hammer glove access to Dark World and then go to Eastern Palace instead. So it might be a very long time before they make it to Eastern.
Oh no, and Gloin is doing the basement but without a fire source. I don't know if he realizes he doesn't have the fire source there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. There's a recognition. At least he didn't wait for the entire sequence.
And we see sonicam now climbing the tower. He went and got the red mail. I mean, that was a great timed Master Sword and Lamp over on the east side. So he was just able to bop right over and hit Tower of Hera.
Yeah, this is certainly the best time to do it. You're already up on the mountain, and it could easily have progression. And like I said, it could easily have progression. There's a nice ice rod there in that chest.
And sonicam thinking about doing the bomb jump and realizing I'm more comfortable dropping down. Liminality, meanwhile, took the opportunity. Did do East Death Mountain, but instead opted to go to the Dark World immediately. So checking the Village of Outcasts right now.
Yeah, the good news is they will not need the ice rod for a very long time. And the place they need it is on Death Mountain. So you just hope that they'll check Hera before they go into Turtle Rock. At this point, there's no worries about skipping that, but that would become an issue at that point.
So Jastebro asks a question: how many Zelda races are streamed a day? Right now, we're doing 3 daily. We're going to keep this up going until AGDQ starts, which will be on the 7th. And then the schedule is going to shift a little bit. But right now, the schedule is to have a daily race at 8 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Eastern, and I believe 2 o'clock Eastern. Is that right?
That is correct. And we have a fire rod in Thieves Town.
Wow, Fire Rod in Thieves Town. So Liminality has a little bit of separation there. We'll be able to run up and do Skullwoods if he so desires. Skullwoods is, of course, a pendant, but a couple chest locations that are locked behind there, we'll be able to check those.
Yeah, and we are getting fairly close to having the pendant in Logic, so I don't think Liminality checked it before. We know it's not the required item, but it is a sword, so maybe they'll be going up there to check and see what it is.
Oh, and Liminality also got the powder. I completely missed that. So Attack the Music is upset at Agana for not having anything in the cave.
Yep, and sonicam and gloin are both headed towards Skull Woods before Village of Outcasts. It's a common play, but they're going to potentially regret the order that they did this in when they find that fire rod in Thieves Town.
I don't know if they're going to potentially be discouraged. I think they will be. There's no question about that.
Well, it definitely depends if they find both of the items before the back half of Skull, but it's unlikely. So at this point, and we find the bow.
What?
Wow. So that's really good for these runners because now both Eastern and Pod are fully clearable, so they will likely get both the cane and the flippers before too much longer in this seed.
So I'm just going through everything right now. We're a hook shot away from no mode, aren't we?
We still need the mitts. The mitts have not shown themselves.
Oh, okay.
And we will need at least one medallion for Meyer and Turtle Rock. It could be Quake for both, but we might need a different one as well.
Yeah, we are 22 minutes in, and only a handful of items are where we don't know where they are. This is something special.
And Liminality is starting their blind fight, a great first phase. Made good use of those sword beams on the second phase, and getting through the third phase very clean.
Yep. Kept blind from cycling down to the bottom, which is a little bit of a time saver there, but well done, Liminality, for our first crystal.
We have sonicam going to check the graveyard ledge.
That ledge has trolled enough players that I think, and he's very aware of that. I do not blame him for that one bit.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to check it at any point after Skull Woods, when you have the mirror, it's the right time to do it. And we find
the hook shot. What is this seed?
So not only is that a great find for sonicam, but it might troll a lot of runners in this race. So it might be not only a great find now, but great find relative to the competition as well.
Yeah, that is traditionally just one of those items that people don't check that particular ledge. It has a kind of derogatory nickname that I won't repeat here, but that ledge has really messed with a lot of players in the recent open mode tournament. So sonicam heads up play checking that, they're paying off for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking for those mitts, and there are still plenty of overworld locations they could be in, and they could also be anywhere in Swamp Palace or Pod.
I would like to point out something that may seem obvious, but note that none of these runners have actually checked the hype cave.
Yeah, that's certainly one of the overworld locations that's left, and if Titans are in Hype Cave, that could make this race pretty exciting as far as a race to the finish.
My goodness, this is one of those seeds that I think we're going to see a lot of personal bests for open mode.
Yeah, so those early flippers for Attack the Music, they could either help him greatly or hurt him a bit. If he finds the hook shot, he'll be able to route in Swamp Palace on his first pass through the area, whereas our other runners are probably going to do pod first. So depending on whether the mitts, if they are in a dungeon, if they're in pod or swamp, those early flippers could really come into play.
Worth noting that Attack the Music is still the only one with the flippers. No one else has gone over, so we're excited as commentators and in chat because we know where everything is, but it might be a while with everything that's opened up for Liminality, sonicam, and gloin. It might be a little bit before we see them go over there to get those flippers, so the world hasn't opened up to them quite as much as we'd like to make it out right now.
Yeah, for sonicam, he is actually in really good shape in this race. He's about to get his fire rod. I'm imagining that having the bow, the lamp, the hammer, his next play will be the pod Eastern combo after he routes around to Hype Cave. So he is going to be mitts away from go mode, in fairly short order.
Speaking of, Liminality's heading over that way right now. Looks like going to do the pod Eastern combo. Makes sense when you have the hammer and the bow.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of runners would, do the overworld sweep, but there's nothing wrong with this play, especially with how, much dungeons have a higher weight of item progression in them. This is a great play, especially since they are both crystals.
Attack the Music now doing his Eastern Death Mountain sweep. Going to be finding both the Master Sword and very shortly the lamp. Wonder if he'll go right over there and just take out Tower of Hera in the meantime.
Yeah, we know from our position that would give him the Ice Rod and be a great play. A lot of players would skip it because it's a pendant dungeon, but if you get a Light World pendant dungeon that opens up to you very early, I'm always a fan of just checking it for items and getting it out of the way.
So gloin starting up on his blind fight. Meanwhile, checking Liminality and pod, seeing what we get right here.
Now, notably, Liminality does not have the Cane of Samaria yet, which means they did not mirror and check their Hashila. Hopefully, they do not forget on their way out.
That could be rough. I mean, Misery Mire is a crystal, Turtle Rock is a crystal, Cane is... There's still a ways to go before they check those particular locations, so they have time, but man, it would be unfortunate if they left the area without checking Sahashila. Attack the Music going ahead and going for the full desert clear. Already got a couple of the items that was over here, so just coming back to clear it out. I personally probably would have waited until I came over here with for Mire to go ahead and clear it out. But if it's nagging at the back of your mind, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, since you know that you're going to get mitts at some point and there are no more items, it would be faster to save it for later. But a lot of times when you're just newer and trying to think of what to do, going and grabbing a crystal you can get, it's never a bad thing.
All right, and it looks like gloin might be going over here and checking this hype cave now, which 30 minutes in, there's not much hype left to be had, but man, if it's there. Sonicam with his crystal at Thieves Town in the meantime. Liminality still working his way through Pod.
And
there's
the Dud Cave.
Dud Cave. So Liminality did find the Ether Medallion in Pod. So that's something. That's 2 out of our 3 medallions already.
Yeah, even more likely that we are just the midst away from our no mode.
People in chat are saying Hype Caves needs a rename. No, we don't. We just need to add quotation marks. It's Hype Cave. And you can read the quotation marks when you say it if you want.
Yeah, sometimes I actually like it when Hype Cave has hearts and pieces of heart early on. If you have like early Dark World access when you have 4 hearts, getting a couple hearts out of Hype Cave feels pretty hype.
I mean, I like it because I'm a bad runner myself, and if I don't have at least a full row of hearts, I'm uncomfortable going into a lot of the dungeons, so I like it. And we see AttackTheMusic making use of the flippers going up here. I'm surprised we haven't seen a Zora check yet. Nothing in the Waterfall Cave so far, but we'll see what's up here at Zora.
Yeah, he does have enough money. Maybe he was waiting to get it. I'm not sure how long he has had that much rubies.
Fairy in a bottle there.
The flippers were in Eastern Palace.
And what does Sir Zora have for us today?
Life lessons.
Sonicam also checking. Okay, and getting a heart container out of that. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson is never engage in capitalism with the giant fish.
And Sonicam's doing some nice efficient routing here. He basically broke off his Dark World route to check Bombo's tablet, and now I believe he's going to go check Desert quickly and possibly complete it. And then he can just as easily start over at Hype Cave with his Dark World route.
Yep, do a quick save and quit and then head on over from there. Solid. Meanwhile, we see Liminality finishing off Helmasaur King, and AttackTheMusic did a quick pedestal check there. Smart, because he hadn't done that quite yet.
So without the myths showing up in Pod, we are running lower on locations. It seems like Swamp Palace is the most likely option at this point.
Certainly feels like it at this point. Misery Mire and Turtle Rock areas are really blocked off, as well as East Death Mountain and East Dark World Death Mountain because of the myths. So, yeah, it's looking like Swamp is going to be the play, maybe.
And what's unfortunate for our other runners outside of sonicam is they're likely to be missing not just the ice rod, but also the hook shot when they find those mitts, unless they, resist dipping into Swan Palace without that hook shot. But that would mean returning to Death Mountain for that pendant Hera that they opted to skip earlier. So it'll just be a decision they'll have to make when they get to that point.
And there's sonicam routing in the Eastern pod combo right now, while Liminality is going through Eastern. Now, it's worth noting that Liminality left the Dark World portal in a way that he won't be able to leave the Eastern area without going back into the Dark World. So he has a possibility of avoiding Sahasrara. I'm going to be watching that.
Yeah, there is a trick you can do where you drop a bomb and pick it up, and you can walk over the portal, and you won't go through it while you're holding an object. But that's just if you forget. So hopefully, he remembers before he leaves this area. But if not, it could be trouble. And AttackTheMusic getting their bow. I'm sure they're happy to find that.
Liminality now getting the flippers. So the second runner to get it about 20 minutes after AttackTheMusic did will make for some interesting routing, because Liminality does have all those water locations that he will have to check. So sonicam really is the only runner with, he certainly has the advantage right now. He has both rods. He does have the hook shot, and is on track. I know Liminality is kind of in the routing of things. Looks like he's ahead significantly with sonicam, but that hook shot is going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, the one interesting thing with sonicam is he has not actually been to Mini Moldorm Cave yet and gotten his Quake. So we don't know yet if that's required, but that could be an interesting thing coming into play.
All right, so Liminality here, getting ready for about the easiest fight you could possibly hope for. Armos Knights with silvers.
Yep, it's a very fast fight, it's easy to do, and they do it well, getting their third crystal. And actually, they have both crystals, Thieves Town and Pod, for the Pyramid Fairy.
Oh, that's interesting. And it does look like Liminality is going to check that location, pulled out the mirrors, so that's good news that we know, because the Cane of Samaria is right there.
So with the items that Liminality is missing, I think routing from the Pyramid Fairy to the Pyramid, Catfish, Zora would be a pretty nice route. We'll see if that's what they decide to do.
That would be some solid routing. It is going to be a little bit of time before Liminality goes back up to Death Mountain to get Tower of Hera, which is where the ice rod was, for example.
And unfortunately for any of our runners that skipped the graveyard ledge, there really is not a good time to route it in. Like I was saying at the time, if you're going to route it in and you have the mirror, after Skull Woods is the time to do it. So it's really questionable when they will return to that area.
Yeah, I know some runners, try to combine that in with, Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb, but if you're still hunting for those items, that could be a pretty trolly location. So, So Attack the Music is still kind of in a different area than everyone else. Liminality, sonicam, and gloin are all kind of running each other's footsteps right at the moment. Meanwhile, Attack the Music took different routing decisions, went to Desert and Eastern early, so was able to route in a lot of things with the flippers and got some different items that some of the others weren't able to get. But Liminality now has a couple of those items as well.
Yeah, and it looked like Liminality was on their way to the pyramid, and while they were menuing to the hammer, realized they had the 2 red crystals and turned around to go grab that bomb.
I mean, it's an absolutely fantastic check. I mean, this could be something. It's not often that we see a whole lot of progression in the Pyramid Fairy, but I mean, it's entirely possible right at the moment, given what's left to unlock. It's this and Swamp Palace, effectively. And Liminality knows going into Swamp without the hookshot is not always the best move.
Yeah, and actually, Liminality does not know this, but they really do not want to find the myths right now.
Yeah, that would be not good, because that will pull Liminality even further away from... Oh, and the mushroom!
That actually works out really well for this route that they're on.
Yep, got a little bit lucky there. But yeah, to your point, Liminality, if Liminality were to find the mitts, that would route them away from where the hookshot is, which is an important item right now.
Yeah, they would potentially check out Green Pendant Ice or Turtle Rock without checking Hera first. There are a lot of bad things that could happen if they find the mitts before either the hookshot or the ice rod, particularly the hookshot.
Conversely, it might... I could also see it guiding them towards there if they're looking for overworld locations specifically, because you can route in King's Tomb with it. No, you can't, because you need boots. Never mind, I'm stupid.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, for their sake, they do end up finding that hookshot before they run into the mitts. If the mitts are in Swamp Palace, it would increase the chances that they find the hookshot first, but it's not a guarantee. Just because many runners will just do everything they can to not go into Swamp Palace without the hookshot, and for good reason. And Attack the Music's got their first crystal from Thieves Town, while Sonicam got their third from Eastern Palace.
And there was a question...
Second from Pod, sorry.
Yeah, there was a question in chat. Attack the Music didn't get the crystal in Eastern. No, when Attack the Music went over there, he did not have the bow, so he was not able to go ahead and clear out Eastern when he was in there the first time. So it will be a double dip. We thought at the time that if there was something of value behind the flippers, and that could still end up being beneficial for Attack the Music, but it's not really played out that way at this point.
Yeah, but if they do check Swamp on the way, now they haven't gotten the hookshot yet, which is unfortunate, but those flippers could lead them into Swamp to find the mitts.
Liminality heading up here, of course, to check Catfish, which is another troll location. It's kind of out of the way if you don't specifically route it in. But again, it's trolled a lot of people.
Now, runners on the right, neither one of them have gone to Desert Palace. It's an interesting decision because you would ideally be able to route that in. And we have the mitts.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So that's very interesting and potentially a bad thing for Liminality. Our friend the Catfish just hiding those mitts.
So sonicam had one major item and one troll location in the hookshot. Liminality has another troll location in the Catfish with the mitts. This just got interesting.
Yeah, so this actually works out really well for sonicam because his most likely route after finishing off Eastern here is exactly what Liminality is doing. And once you find those mitts, he is probably just going to check and see what medallions he needs, and he could possibly be in go mode at that point.
Gloin also checking the Pyramid Ferry. So right now, at this point, it feels like it's kind of a two-man race between Liminality and sonicam. Not that crazy things haven't happened before. Gloin's kind of hanging there in the wings. AttackTheMusic has that early routing choice to get Desert and Eastern, and unfortunately having to double dip them has kind of hurt him right now, and he's further behind at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Gloin continues on the Catfish, and I think getting that mushroom on the pyramid, he probably will, because he will be running into the same problem that Liminality is, which is he'll have those mitts and he won't have the hook shot.
And here, you're absolutely right. This is going to be a problem for Liminality. Going to Ice Palace now.
The only way that Ice Palace is required at this point is if it has Bombos, and Bombos is required for either Turtle Rock or Mire.
So at this point, you get the impression that Liminality is hunting for that hook shot.
The other really outside possibility is that the boots are in here, and that big key is just waiting on the torch in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, this is not good for Liminality in any way, shape, or form. Now, it's possible if sonicam ends up heading off into a different direction, doesn't check those locations, doesn't get the mitts, for example, that he could go off into another direction, and they're both kind of in the same spot.
So we know that for Liminality, they appear to have made the wrong choice after finding the mitts. We'll see very shortly what Gloin will be doing, because that looks to be his next destination.
Meanwhile, sonicam is going to, looks like, Swamp Palace. This is, I mean, the proper routing. He does not yet have the Titan's mitts, but he can clear it through. It's just too bad that he won't be able to go mode this because he's still looking for those Titan's mitts.
Yeah, and we mentioned this before, but he has not done South Shore yet. So potentially he was thinking to do this first because he can combo the dam in with Swamp Palace, which is a rare thing to do, but it is kind of fun when you can do it. But it will delay his getting the mitts for an unknown amount of time. All
right, so we see Gloin now making use, going through here. I'm going to be checking Zora and all these item locations. So the advantage that AttackTheMusic had on the runners from checking Eastern early is completely gone now.
Yeah, he also has the issues that both Liminality and Gloin have, which is missing both the Hookshot and Ice Rod. However, he does have that crystal from Desert Palace, so that's one less thing that the other runners still have ahead that he already has behind him. So he does have that advantage, but that's a small, quick dungeon, so he is a little bit behind at this point.
I think at this point, the next major questions that we need answered are going to be what are the required to open up to Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, and looks like Gloin is going to give us our Misery Mire answer here directly. And it's Ether, so Misery Mire able to be cleared out right at the moment. Although Gloin won't be able to get there because he has neither the hookshot nor the boots.
Right, he is locked out of Mire. And what I was saying before, I expect Gloin to just kill Lamolas, but our runners on the right have not yet been to Desert, and given that there's 2 items there, and it's a crystal, I'm guessing they were waiting till they had the mitts to make it a little bit faster, but for all they know, the mitts are sitting in Desert Palace, so it would not surprise me if sonicam makes that his next destination.
Oh, and that's unfortunate. Gloin kind of misplaced that teleporter. Don't know if he's going to be able to get back to it. Liminality trying the bomb jump here.
Yep, so for this bomb jump, you need to get on the bottommost pixel. It's the only one that works. And then you just have to put the bomb down to the left, and it works every time. The only trick is to get to that bottom pixel.
Yeah, that's kind of a rough one. I know there's a lot of other visual cues for the more traditional Ice Palace bomb jump. But for that one, it can be rough.
And opting to mirror and use the small key they found on the door instead, that is certainly an option, but it does, you do lose a lot of time doing that.
Absolutely. Sonicam now on Argus, and I believe he skipped left side entirely, didn't he?
He did, and he also found the big key in the back and opted not to go to the big chest. Since he did that, I assume he's planning to come back in.
And it looks like Gloin might be going over here. Is Gloin going to be doing a Turtle Rock check?
Not only may he be doing a check, but if he can get in, he might actually make the play.
This is gutsy by Gloin. It's absolutely the wrong move with what we know, but it's gutsy either way. I like it.
Yeah, and honestly, from Gloin's perspective, this is not a bad play. And it's also Ether, so sonicam just needs those mitts.
Well, and keep in mind, there's still a small percentage chance that the Ganon Tower big key could be on the torch. When you're bootless, that's a thing.
Yeah, and to look at this play from Gloin's perspective, right now his options are Pendant Hera, Turtle Rock without the Ice Rod, or Swamp without the Hookshot. It's not a bad play from his perspective. The only issue is we know that it's not going to work out well for him.
Well, and it's an overworld location. It's that graveyard ledge that is trolling absolutely everyone except sonicam right now.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, his other option is doing what Liminality is doing now, which is Ice Palace without the hook shot, which is also not a fun choice out of the options available.
There's a lot of not fun choices that you can do here.
And it looks like it's possible we have a really quick Turtle Rock if you're in go mode. We have the big key and 2 small keys already.
Oh, that would be... I mean, you can't shave that much time off Turtle Rock go mode. Not like you can Ice Palace or Swamp Palace or anything like that. But being able to bypass the entirety of the laser bridge is nice.
There is the rare situation where you can pass the outside area. If you get the small key here from the Chain Chomps, then you can just steal the key and not have to even go outside and check the big chest at that point. But no, we have a blue rupee, so that's the dream for that is dead. You can still do it, but it would be a gamble.
All right, and we have sonicam finally coming over here. We are almost an hour in, and sonicam is just now coming over here to Mini Mold Arcade. So right now we are waiting to see sonicam will be in go mode, and he won't know he's in go mode, but he'll have a pretty good idea that he'll be in go mode as soon as he finds those mitts, which are up in Catfish.
Yeah, and the number one reason why he's been in a better position than our other runners is because those mitts are his go mode item. So there are not only so many locations that are not mitts blocked in the game, and he's running out of them.
Meanwhile, the locations that are not hook shot locked for Liminality and Gloin at this point in time are numerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
And clever plays with the question, what does go mode mean? That's fair. I mean, go mode is one of those terms that we talk about in Randomizer. Go mode is when you as the player have every item you need to clear all the dungeons and beat the game. So in this case, for example, Skullwoods, Ice Palace, and Tower of Hera are all pendant dungeons. So anything that is only used exclusively to beat and clear those dungeons aren't necessarily required. Right now, the only items that we know sonicam needs to beat the game, to access everything, would be the Titansmiths. Now, boots may or may not be required, so there's that small chance. But we always use the term go mode for, hey, we're ready to go. And at that point, when you don't need anything else, the game speeds up. You don't have to check any more treasure chests. You get the bare minimum keys, the big key, and you just go.
It looks like AttackTheMusic is doing his route for the Pyramid Ferry and likely up to Catfish, so he is likely to be in the same situation as our other runners, which is having those mitts but missing the Ice Rod and Hook Shot.
So Sonicam now coming over here has not yet done desert. It's not going to be peak efficiency routing here, but I think it's a reasonable play to go ahead and do desert when this is the only dungeon you can get into right now.
Yeah, it's a crystal dungeon. It has 2 items. He can see if he needs the boots to seed. We know that we do not need the boots for Desert Palace. So he'll get his crystal, and then really he just has that overworld route that we've seen the other runners take up through Catfish remaining, I believe.
And Liminality did turn in his last green pendant to Sahasrara, and it was our final sword. So 2 vanilla swords and then 2 other swords that are kind of buried there.
And as far as consolation prizes go, that's probably about as good as they can get, because our other runners are very likely to be stuck on Master Sword for this entire seed. So at least they got something out of that Ice Palace play. Not what they were looking for, but Timber Sword is certainly a nice find.
Meanwhile, Liminality and Sonicam are both going to be in desert at the same time.
So Gloin has left Turtle Rock, and it looks like he might have overworld cleanup on his mind. So he's checking Ice Rod Cave. Maybe he makes it to the Graveyard Ledge. We can only hope for his sake.
That would be a significant boost for him, considering he's kind of in the third man right at the moment when you're taking a look at everything right at the moment. But he would immediately jump to that second place position, I think, if he were to get that hook shot.
And the other thing on his side is that the dungeon that he chose to go into that did not work out was Turtle Rock. So he knows that he needs to search for the Ice Rod before he goes back in there. Liminality does not have that knowledge.
And AttackTheMusic, actually the second one, or gets his Titansmiths before even Sonicam does. So Sonicam doing everything he can without those Titansmiths, but is going to be the last one to get them.
Yep. The good thing for him is that he will probably get them within the next 5 to 10 minutes, and at that point he will be in go mode. Just have to finish up Misery Mire and Turtle Rock and head to Ganon's Tower. So we know he's in good shape, but he still has a little bit to go here.
And nice 0 cycle Sonicam there with the Landmolus fight.
And unfortunately, Gloin is also making that Ice Palace play. Whereas Sonicam looks to finally be doing the overworld route that they needed to do to get those mitts. So they are just minutes away from finding their go mode.
Yep, this is going to be great work for Sonicam right now. Gloin making the same mistake that Liminality did, going into Ice Palace, unfortunately. And it's about that time to start keeping an eye on the SRL. I think we're going to be getting close here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I think, to seeing some dones. I mean, the way this has been stacking up, with everything just laying right on top of one another. If you have optimal routing, this could be a very quick seed.
Yeah, I think for a lot of the top runners, they're not going to skip Tower of Hera in that situation, but I know quite a few people that would skip that Graveyard Ledge, so we'll see. I think we'll see a wide disparity with some of the top runners finishing in really quick time and others really getting trolled after finding the mitts but not finding that hook shot.
And a question in chat, why is it called .done? And that's probably a good question. If you've never done a race in our community, we use the SRL channels. And in order to notify the channel that you have completed the race, you have to type .done into the chat channel to say, yep, I'm done and here's my time. So we can all see the .dones in the SRL channel. So we say, okay, it's .done, so you're .done. And sonicam is doing escape because he never did escape. What?
Yeah, he was one of the two that did not do the front half of escape, and at this point, this is when it makes sense to route it in. So a couple more minutes away from go mode, but we'll get there eventually. Like, this is really good routing. It's just the he's ending up getting catfish as the last spot on this route.
Yeah, and as chat points out, it's he could have skipped so much if he would have just checked catfish. And catfish is kind of historically a pretty trolly location. It's out of the way, so I'm not surprised that he isn't going up there right at the moment, just because so few runners actually do, or they try to route it in with a world tour of some sort.
Yeah, and honestly, this is good routing. Like I said, he's actually probably really, really relieved that he did not find the mitts in the last couple chests he checked, because if so, he would know he was very far behind. Now he knows the mitts are in a location that people probably don't check right away. But he's opting to do the mushroom and Zora first, it looks like. So he really is going to find them in the absolute last spot.
Oh, feels bad, man. I mean, this is giving Liminality and Gloin a chance to catch up. And I'm checking over here. AttackTheMusic just finished off his Skull Woods. Hoping for something there.
And unfortunately, if he was going to pick a pendant dungeon, we know that Tower of Hera would have been a better one for him to have picked at this point. But now it appears possibly to be doing some overworld here in the Dark World, so maybe he will end up going to Graveyard Ledge after he does what's in Kakariko here. We can hope. But Liminality is in Tower of Hera, so they did make that dip before going into Turtle Rock, so finally something going their way.
Oh, and here's a check that I don't know if we've actually seen yet. Jeremiah. But Sonic is on the path up to the catfish. Are you gonna go that way, sonicam? Maybe
deciding to take a dip in the water.
It's like, maybe if I smell like catfish water, he will be nice to me.
Yeah, as far as I know, this is the last possible location in the world for Sonicam to find the mitts. But it is mitts as your go mode item in this seed is the best situation you can be in. So it's unfortunate that it's the last spot, but as you can see by looking at our other runners, he is well in the lead at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that he has anything necessarily to worry about. It will take some efficient routing to be able to go through, but being able to go through Misery Mire and Turtle Rock Go mode will be absolutely great. Now the question is, will he go mode them? Because he doesn't actually know what each of the medallions are. So he can go to one and know, okay, I can get into this one. But do you think he full clears it, hoping to find Bombos just in case? Or do you think he go modes it?
I think at this point he would probably go mode Mire before checking Turtle Rock. Ideally, you do have 2/3 of the medallions. You know, you're just hoping to find it up there. Or if you do need Bombos, you have all of Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny Cave. You have some chances to find it outside of Mire, so I think you just go for it.
And of course, Sonicam is in go mode right now. Well, go-ish mode.
Yeah, he just needs to verify that he doesn't need Bombos, but he might not do that until after finishing Mire.
Well, and there's still those pesky boots as well. So here's to hoping. And I think, if I'm guessing the way our community is, they're really hoping for that big key on the torch in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, the big key on the torch is quite a distraction when you go in there with just no boots and wondering where to go. Now, for Sonicam, he's going to have most of the world cleared. He hasn't been into Ice Palace. He hasn't got the second item out of Skull Woods, but he'll have most of the world cleared, so he won't have that many places outside of Ganon's Tower, but it would still be a pretty troll location for him.
And yes, chat, thank you for reminding. I said Turtle Rock, I meant Ganon's Tower. Thank you for reminding me how silly I can be sometimes.
It's just the dungeon that's up on Dark Death Mountain, you know? That one.
They're easy to get mixed up, you know?
So Gloin has found the Ice Rod, and it looks like AttackTheMusic might be making that same play. So our other three runners will have the Ice Rod, potentially. Oh, AttackTheMusic is checking Spike Cave first. They're still being trolled by that hookshot, though. And unfortunately, okay, Gloin is not going into Swamp yet, or maybe he is.
It looks like Gloin's going to Swamp. Oh man. So let this be a lesson to all you runners. Just that particular ledge has trolled many a runner, and it's trolling all three, AttackTheMusic, Gloin, and Sonicam right now.
Yeah, and you can see what Sonicam did in his route this seed. We noticed that he skipped the South Shore, but when he was in a location, he got everything he could get when he was there. And that's, it's not always going to give you the fastest time, but in a seed like this, it certainly works out. And our other runners are showing what can happen if you decide to, occasionally skip things like that. And it does look like Sonicam is heading straight to Vitreous. He got an early big key, so this is what I expected, and I think he'll head right up to Turtle Rock and make sure he can go in, and then he'll realize he's in go mode.
Yep. So as soon as he realizes it, I mean, he's going to make pretty quick work, because as you pointed out, there was an early big key, so he's not going to have to waste a whole lot of time in some of these other checks as soon as he gets his requisite keys.
So it looks like he's checking these easy overworld locations while he's here. He didn't opt to go searching through the entire dungeon for the items, but he is going to get the Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave.
And that's understandable, I think. You want to double check. I mean, because if Bombos was there, I think you'd feel a little bit silly, but...
Absolutely. Plus, he could find other useful items. Like, he just found the cape, which, given that he is going to be doing Master Sword Ganon, the cape plus half magic can really speed up that fight. So I don't think he's going to regret that check whatsoever.
And Liminality and the Mimic Cave not finding anything. Yeah, sonicam is double checking probably to make sure either Boots or Bombos. I mean, he doesn't absolutely know he can get to Turtle Rock yet, and if it is Bombos, he'll have to search some other locations. And then there's Boots, and I think it's the math works out 2.5% chance on that or something.
Yeah, 4.5. There's 1 out of
4.5.
22. And I'm not sure if he's one of the ones that checked the pedestal, but he would certainly not mind finding a tempered sword either.
This is true, and I think you're right. I do not believe he actually checked pedestal. Even then, there's one other sword upgrade that he doesn't know about that we know is an Ice Palace, that unfortunately he's not going to find as well. Not Ice Palace, Sahasrara, which came from the green pendant that was Ice Palace, so...
Black behind Ice Palace.
We'll go with that.
So Liminality is about to be very disappointed in not finding the hookshot in Turtle Rock like they were hoping. But at least they will be able to kill Trinex while they're here and make progress towards their 7 crystals.
Meanwhile, sonicam got to be happy to see that early big key.
And Gloin has cleared out Turtle Rock except for Trinex, and is now wondering where to go for that hook shot. He's checked all he can in Swamp Palace. He's done a lot of overworld. He just has not yet been to where he needs to go, which is that graveyard ledge.
And now we see AttackTheMusic also making the dive into Turtle Rock, also looking for that hook shot. So I was right, the hook shot was the troll location. Yay!
You certainly were.
Not that I'm ever really happy about that, because, I think it always sucks to lose because of an item location like that. And I don't know how it feels to win like that, but I can imagine being the only one to check something and you win like that probably feels a little worse too.
Nah, it feels great.
Okay. I'll trust you on that one, Korik.
Well, like I said, sonicam's playstyle has been, he doesn't always go to the conventional location, but when he goes there, it seems like he clears it out. So my guess is when he saw that hook shot on the graveyard ledge, what went through his mind is, boy, I hope people skip this. Because he knows his thoroughness is his advantage in his routing style.
Well, I guess that goes to show you how often I actually win. So, yeah. So we see sonicam going through, not checking any treasure chest. He doesn't have to.
So the bad news is Gloin is now checking for the second item in Skull Woods. The good news is that he is getting closer and closer to that graveyard ledge.
Slowly. Liminality, meanwhile, is going up here and checking the pedestal.
I also think it's quite likely that Liminality will be making the same play in Skull Woods, but again, getting very close to that graveyard ledge.
Inching ever so slightly closer.
Oh, looks like they might be doing the fetch quest here in the overworld. Maybe graveyard ledge first? That would be a great choice. Looks promising.
Oh, no. Further south. No, don't go back that way. That's okay. Yeah, right way.
And Gloin ended up getting a single green rupee off of Mothula, which I'm sure it feels really great right about now.
That's one of those you just put your head down on your desk and go, ah. Uh-oh, it looks good. Okay, chat, real quick. What's the number of frustration slashes Liminality is going to do? Has a hook shot. And nope, no rage slashes. Just getting out of there.
Getting to work. And sonicam's on Trinex, about to collect that 7th crystal.
Oh.
And Gloin has also finally made his way to that graveyard ledge.
Oh boy. Alright, sonicam with the kill of Trinex. That is his 7th and final crystal. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for everyone's favorite randomizer game, There are 22 chests in Ganon's tower where the big key could be located. Get your guesses in chat, 1 through 22. Where will it be? Korik, where's your guess going to be?
I'm going to go with an odd number and just go with 21.
I think I'm with chat. I want it to be 3. I want that torch.
Now, the good news is the most likely place for it to be will be in Ganon's Tower if we do need the boots. But it would add some extra drama to the end of this race, so it would be a lot of fun.
All right, so get your drum rolls here going. I think every number has been guessed, so someone's going to win. First 2, just a regular key and 20 rupees. I'm surprised to see him. It looks like he's going to go full right side. I would be super nervous about that torch, but he's going to go ahead and go right.
No one has finished the race yet, so sonicam's our first runner on stream in Ganon's Tower, but nobody has finished, so we'll see how they end up finishing in the overall race.
It could be close. You got a B-Torp there. All right. Meanwhile, Gloin is going down. Gloin opted to do Misery Mire before doing Swamp Palace. Interesting. No, just some arrows.
Yep, and Gloin also needs to kill Landmola while he's here, so I'm expecting he'll mirror and take care of that. Liminality has already finished Desert, so after this, they just need to complete Misery Mire, and they'll be done as well. And that was number 8.
Well done, whoever chose number 8. So sonicam, Liminality and Gloin are pretty neck and neck right now. Sonicam is way out in front. AttackTheMusic is just a little bit behind those two. Still no duns in the SRL channel. We could be seeing the winner of the open race in sonicam, unless I jinxed it just there.
I mean, I think you know what you just did, so.
I like jinxing things, what can I say? Oh, and AttackTheMusic, taking a death.
Oh, and unfortunately, they did not take the safety door, so they're all the way back at the big chest. Trying to think about what to do. Yeah, Trinex is a tough fight with just Master Sword and Hammer. It's something that's definitely worth practicing a few times because it comes up more often than you might think. But when you haven't done it that many times, it can catch up on you how difficult it can be.
There are about 50 or so people in the race, so sonicam still have. I mean, is still looking very good right at the moment. And let's see here. And yes, it is the same seed for everyone. Everyone's racing the same seed so that someone can't get a super jet seed and the other one can't get a super trolley seed. And I just learned this the other day, that when we talk about jet seeds, we're talking about in reference to a specific runner named Jet, not actually like Jet going fast, which I never knew.
Yeah, I had that same misconception before I found out that it was named after Jet, and every seed he generated seemed to be a Jet seed, as we've come to know them. So, yes, named after Jet. Jet 82. Sonicam making their way through the torch room, and we still don't have any finishers. It looks like Sonicam is looking for that second sword, or the third sword that we know he will not be finding here in GT.
I can't blame the guy for checking those, though. I mean, Master Sword Ganon still isn't fun, even though you have silvers. The first 3 phases takes a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a worthwhile check. Given how much he's checked in the game so far, from his perspective, there's a pretty good chance that he could find one up here.
Sonicam taking the safe bets here on Troll Dorm 2, the trolling. ATM really struggling here through Turtle Rock.
So something he could do that he might not be familiar with is he could go out the door at the laser bridge, or actually on the ledge there at the laser bridge, and mirror flute, get some potions, and then actually keep that flute spot at that portal spot from the mirror. It's a trick that doesn't come up often, but it can really come in handy if you're having trouble in Turtle Rock, or if you need the
Absolutely.
ice rod.
Oh, and I did jinx it. So Sonicam is on Aghanim, but we have Hippos finishing in first place with an official time, 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 45 seconds.
And Liminality is actually picking up their 7th crystal, so they'll be on their way to GT too, even with that extra clear of Ice Palace.
Yeah, it's still a very respectable time here by Liminality. And no, for those people who are asking, Hippo was not on another. I mean, he was broadcasting on his channel, but everyone who enters into the SRL races, into the daily races, must be streaming on their own personal channels in order to be counted towards the SRL time. So you can go and check Hippo out on his channel right now, and he's probably calming himself down there.
And we mentioned it earlier, but now you can really see, since we've only had one finisher, sonicam found the mitts in the absolute last location he could find them, but given that his go mode item was the mitts, that really, really worked out well for him in this race.
Absolutely did. Now imagine if he would have been able to find the mitts even faster, if he would have not checked, for example, the escape locations and some of the other overworld locations he had.
He does have to be careful here. He is down to 2 hearts.
Oh, he does have that blue potion. So we see Liminality on his way over here. Meanwhile, sonicam is in phase 3. Gloin now finishing with his 6th crystal. He still has Turtle Rock to clean up.
And it looks like AttackTheMusic finally got the job done in Turtle Rock, and they're moving on. I'm sure they're relieved to get that fight behind them.
Looked like sonicam was doing silverless strats there for a second.
Yeah, that happens with Master Sword sometimes. You're charging a sword, and then you have that habit of when you charge the sword to, get in position for that spin attack. And Ganon is down. So sonicam is walking through the door and finishing with an official SRL time of 1:37:07 in 2nd place.
Very well done, sonicam there.
Yep. Very nice run.
Meanwhile, we see Gloin AttackTheMusic. Liminality is in Turtle Rock. Gloin does have Turtle Rock to clean up, so he will be heading that direction. It should be relatively quick for Gloin, though. AttackTheMusic still waiting for that hook shot, though.
And Liminality will be getting their big key momentarily, and they see that the boots are not required, breathing that sigh of relief.
Liminality is going to have a bit of a faster Ganon fight than sonicam did, simply because of that temper sword that he was able to find in Ice Palace. It's interesting because I thought I saw Gloin in Ice Palace as well. Did he not get tempered either?
It did not look like he finished the dungeon, so I'm not sure what caused him to leave at that time, but he did not finish.
And again, I keep saying it wasn't in Ice Palace, it was in the Green Pendant from Sahasrara, so yes. And we have our first forfeit of the race as well. Ben Teasy forfeit the race. Ben Teasy, man.
And we have sonicam visiting us here. GG, sonicam.
Hello, guys. Thank you.
So what do you think about that hook shot there?
Oh, boy. I felt like I was getting a lot of good stuff in these low percentage, stupid areas. And I felt really good about the early game. I kind of checked too many bad spots. I really should have just went with my gut.
Yeah, so what really puts you ahead in this race is that when you checked an area, you were thorough, and the mitts being your go mode item was just key for you.
Yeah, I guess that's TR or Myron, I was already done. Most, I wonder where those were.
think you were cutting out there for a second. Were you asking about where the boots were? Because we still haven't found the boots. I don't think anyone has.
Oh, nobody's found the boots. Wow. Yeah, that's what I was asking.
It seems most likely that they were past the big key in Ganon's tower somewhere.
Oh, okay. How are the other rerunners going?
What?
Liminality is in Ganon's tower. Gloin is going towards Trinex and Turtle Rock, and AttackTheMusic is still looking for that hook shot.
Oh wow. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, I got that thing super early. It felt surreal. Like I was just finding everything.
And quick shout out, we have Saberwolf finished in 3rd place with a personal best. He knocked 16 minutes off his previous personal best with 1 hour 39. GamerCal also finished in 4th, Macanex in 5th. Someone 325 also finished, knocking 26 minutes off his personal best, down from 206 to 140. Lots of personal bests for this run. The way the routing ended up going, I think as long as you checked the Graveyard Ledge and Catfish relatively early, you were in pretty good shape.
Yeah, also not skipping Hera was pretty key.
Yeah. Yeah, I love getting that lamp. That was so funny. I'm like, if I find a fire source on this side of Death Mountain, I am just going to go back. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, so the 2 swords you didn't find, did you see in your credits where one of them was?
Well, I know one of them was the pedestal, because that was like the first thing I checked, which is why I didn't pick up that pendant from Moldorm. But where was the other one?
The other one was on Sahasrara.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I was never going to get that. Thank God.
Unfortunately for Liminality, they do have that sword. Or fortunately in some ways, but yeah, they did clear Ice Palace looking for that hook shot.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so happy I didn't get mids early, because that probably would have been an option for me, was to go into Ice Palace. I was also thinking about going back into Skull Woods after I found that fire rod in Davestown, but something was really pushing me, like, just don't do it, not for that one item. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I think the one item that was left was only a single ruby that was on Mothula.
Of course it was. Did anybody find Bombos?
Nope.
No.
So Bombos, shovel, bug catching net, and the boots. I did not find where any of those were.
Shovel and bug catching net were both in Ice Palace as well.
And I bet dig spot was like a 5 spot.
I honestly don't know if we saw Liminality check the dig spot, if you want me to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a huge disparity in the times. It's crazy. I'm looking at the IRC.
Yep, we have Zyrak in 7th place with 142.40 and Mikan in 8th place with 144.10.
I am honestly surprised I got 2nd place. I felt like my execution was just not that good today. It must be this blizzard that's happening in New York. I don't know, I feel like I'm freezing.
I'm right there with you. I'm over in Kansas. We're still at that negative like 10 below or whatever it is.
Wow, we're not that far yet. Well, we're gonna be getting there on Saturday. I think it's like a low of -3 or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, the weather in the United States is not good right now. So don't visit, please, for your own safety. And we got Pryor finishing in 9th place at 145.14.
I'm usually expecting like a huge flurry of like finishes. It's so weird. It must have been like it's just a really weird placement of items. Kind of threw everybody off.
Well, it really was kind of a free seed after Kakariko Village. You guys all went in really divergent directions.
Yeah, it really is the ice rod and the hook shot, one or both, I'm sure, for everybody that's finishing later with just trolling them.
So what were most people's go mode items? Or the hook shot?
For the other 3 runners, yes.
I'm looking at Hippo's time. It was 1:33:45. And what was I? 1:37. 4 minutes. Actually, probably a little bit less than that. Still, well, I'll take it. I'll take second.
And it was a really good race. And now that we're coming up on the end of the race, this is a good time. Hey, if you like what you saw, give the runners a follow. They put on a good show for you tonight, and all these runners play Link to the Past regularly. If you like it, give them a follow.
This is probably be the only time where you'll hear like regular music on my stream, even though nobody really watches my stream anyway. But I always love playing different music. Sometimes this music kind of gets to you after a while.
And GG Liminality beating the big pig. And as soon as Liminality walks through that door, does finish with 1:47.04, does have a PB for Liminality by about 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Wow, great job to him. GG to him. I'm looking at his comment. For once, things fell into place for me! Exclamation point. Where is everybody else? Are they in GT?
Gloin has entered GT, and AttackTheMusic did find their hook shot, so they are cleaning up Mire and soon Swamp Palace.
Sounds good.
And it's a pretty quick seed. Keep in mind, everyone, in just about an hour, we are going to have, I believe it is a Key Sanity race right here on Speed Gaming, Key Sanity at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So that SRL channel is going to open up here in 15 to 20 minutes or so. So if you want to get your first taste of what Randomizer looks like, Key Sanity is not for the faint of heart, but it's a lot of fun.
I can attest to that. I played one race, and one and only race. It was definitely different. And you do things which you really normally wouldn't do in a regular open or standard. But it's definitely interesting.
Absolutely. I'm going to try to give shout-outs for personal bests here. The White Kevin finished in 12th place, beat his personal best by 10 minutes and 26 seconds at 1:48.35. So yeah, lots of PBs in this seed.
And we have Liminality joining us in our voice chat here. Liminality, GG.
Thank you. That was actually a really fun scene for me.
So
Hey, GG
congratulations on your personal best too, by a good 2 minutes there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great job.
Thanks. It's admittedly nice to have a seat whereas I'm not doing 2:15 for a change.
Is this your first time getting a sub 2?
It's the third time, admittedly, but they're rare and far between.
Still, not bad.
Yeah, so what do you think? Really, the item that was trolling you the hardest was the hook shot there on the graveyard ledge. At what point did you realize that you had to go back and check that?
Admittedly, when I went to check that, I was originally going to go through the entire Blacksmith, Kakariko, Southern Dark World stuff, and then I remembered, wait, I have the cape. Let's go check the cape ledge. Wait, I'm here. Let's go check the graveyard ledge because I'm never coming back here again. Because admittedly, my original thought was maybe it's actually in Swamp, so it's just going to get the things on the way to Swamp. I just lucked out, admittedly.
I think you're kind of glad that you lucked out there, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my go mode item was Titan's Mitts. So I had hookshot, I think probably 20 minutes in? Probably even before then.
Yeah, you had hookshot relatively quickly. I mean, the way the seed opened up, everyone just kind of split into 4 different directions right after you hit after Kakariko. So everyone was doing something a little bit differently there, which made it super fun for us.
Yeah, I'm sure that was probably tough for trackers. It's hard to keep track of so many different, different divergence.
Yeah, and that's a good reminder. Shout out to both Number Play and D2 Kemps for tracking. They did not have an easy job tonight. After the first half hour, it wasn't too bad, but that first half hour was kind of rough on those guys.
Well, good job to them.
Yep.
All right, we see Gloin that's actually on his Aga 2 fight right now. AttackTheMusic is in Swamp Palace right now doing the finishing up. So we're going to stay here for a little bit. We will at some point probably have to cut ourselves off just so we can get everything set up for Key Sanity here in an hour.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and take off so I can get something to eat. Kind of came home from work and just jumped right in, so I'm a little bit hungry.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. Well, guys, take care. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. It's a great community, and I really appreciate everything. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you, sonicam.
So we have Gloin dropping into the Ganon fight, and AttackTheMusic on the way to get their 7th crystal, fighting Argus.
So I just realized something. With the 3rd sword being on Sahasrara that Liminality got and no one else got, but that was a pendant, and the 4th sword being on the pedestal, that means unless you went out of your way to do the pendants, you were absolutely going to be doing Master Sword Ganon.
I'm not going to lie, that was another I lucked out because when I originally did the map check, I thought I saw Swamp as green pendant, not Ice Palace as green pendant.
Sometimes I think I'd rather be lucky than good.
And we have had a few more finishers. We have Unfit in 14th place with a time of 1:49.37. Sage Lord 38 in 15th place with a time of 1:49.53. That's a PB of 3:22 for them. Ack the Boker, 16th place, 1:50.01. Truzzle, 17th in 1:50.42. Seon T in 18th in 1:51.09, and Maybe or Not 1:54.11 in 19th place, and that's a 12:03 PB for them.
And I don't know how this happens, but Mr. Scooty Puff Jr. in 20th place with a PB 154.56, improved his personal best by 35 minutes. Well done, Scooty Puff Jr. Meanwhile, Gloin just knocks the big pig.
Yep, and Gloin had finished in 22nd place with a time of 1:56.10, which was 5 seconds after Kotos in 21st place with 1:56.05.
Right behind them, Reg at 23rd with 156.52 as well. So right now we have AttackTheMusic making his way, checking Hookshot Cave, probably looking for that sword, which he's not going to find. But on his way over to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and being a newer runner, maybe he doesn't have experience with Master Sword Ganon, so I know I've seen runners learn it on the fly before. We'll see how he does.
I mean, it's not unheard of. We had, I think there was one runner in the secondary tournament this past fall that didn't know Silverless Ganon. So the race was done, they had lost, and pulled up a YouTube to figure out how to do Silverless Ganon on the fly. It's happened to runners before. And if you've never experienced it, sometimes, the easiest thing, instead of continuing to stumble your way through, is to learn on the fly.
Yeah, and we don't know if AttackTheMusic has experience with it or not, but either way, it's not an easy fight for people that are newer to Link to the Past. So I'm sure they'll be doing their best, and we'll probably need some support on our end. So it'll be fun to see.
And I believe we are now joined by Gloin. How are you doing, sir?
What's up? That was pretty rough. I'm almost glad that I screwed up pretty bad in Ice Palace, but I made mistakes in there I've never made before.
So what did you think of the location of your Go Mode item?
That's happened to me before, and I just kind of accepted it. There was a seed where I usually like to wait for boots before I go check the ledge because it's kind of out of the way. And it happened to me before where Candace Samari was in there, and I just had I checked everything. I full cleared before I was going back there, and it screwed me. So this time I still waited too long, but I kind of checked it earlier than I normally used to. But I guess I was happy though, because I realized that I didn't get any items out of Ice Palace, obviously, and I realized when I left Terra, I thought I was confused because I only had Moldorm left. So I checked my menu and I didn't have the map. So I just thought, oh, he's got the map. And then after I left, I realized I didn't pick up the map in the basement. So that was in the back of my head the whole time. But yeah, dipping into TR and dipping into Swamp are probably the things that hurt me the most.
Yeah, I think that's why we're seeing kind of a diversity of times right now. The two main items that people were missing for Go mode were that hook shot, and then we're also the gloves. So the people who check those two spots early, we see some pretty quick times, and then it's been kind of spread out and staggered around simply because people were checking the graveyard ledge for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think if I had checked it after I did Skull Woods in the beginning, I probably would have, and I would have just done everything else the same. I probably would have done really well. I thought my routing up to that point was pretty good up until I started making horrible mistakes.
Yeah, you and Liminality were pretty close there. Just one or two things different, and you would have been right there. Probably shaved a good 10 minutes off your time.
Yeah, it's funny. I practiced the Ice Palace hook shot bomb jump for 20 minutes one day, and I never had a problem with it after that. And this is the first time I haven't been able to do it. But I guess it kind of worked out.
Well, the one thing we can tell you is one of the other two swords was actually that green pendant.
Yeah. Probably, actually, I don't know what the time savings is there. Might have actually taken more time to go get that, even from where I was.
Yeah, that very well could be the case.
Did anybody get boots? I was actually making mistakes because I was upset that I didn't have boots for most of the game.
As far as we can tell, the boots were not found by anybody.
We're hearing people say the boots were apparently in Rando room.
Perfect.
And AttackTheMusic is making steady progress here in Ganon's Tower. Without the boots, it's not the easiest thing to do to climb Ganon's Tower, but they're making quick work of it and just approaching the last few rooms right now. Still hoping for that sword that they're not going to find.
Yeah, that I think was probably the most disappointing thing. I mean, we didn't find a whole lot of shields. Armor was found almost immediately by everyone. Just knowing where the swords were and knowing that we're probably not going to get them was especially on that pedestal.
Yeah, I figured I wasn't going to get anything, but I checked the last few chests anyway.
Oh, we do have a request from one Willard J. Bradley. Gloin, your timer appeared to be a little slow. Is that something you know about, or?
Oh, is it? Actually, I just started using this timer. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, I think by the end you were almost a full minute off.
Oh, I see that now. Yeah, I'm having problems with live split, so I just kind of changed the other day. Thanks for telling me about that, though.
Don't thank us, thank Willard.
Yeah, it's not right when you're only 10 seconds off the in-game time.
Well, do you have any last-minute thoughts about the seed or anything else that went through Rando tonight?
No. This is actually the first time in a while I haven't had boots. Like when I first started, this is like, I don't know, my 60th race or so, and I was actually not getting boots a lot in the early few seeds I'd done. But actually, I've been getting boots a lot lately in the last 20 or 30 seeds. So I was kind of out of my element there with that. So that was kind of unfortunate. And it's always not really as fun when you don't have boots. So other than that, I thought it was mostly just my mistakes. Otherwise, it was a pretty good seed.
No, it was fun to watch, and you were, don't feel too bad on yourself. You were right there with most of them, so don't worry about that at all. So GG Gloin, right as Attack the Music is about to head off to the Big Pig. And yeah, do not forget, everyone, the Key Sanity race will be at 11 o'clock Eastern. So that's about 45 minutes from now. Keep an eye on the SRL. That room will start up here shortly, I have a feeling.
And Attack the Music has a great corner up here, and they got him into the second phase right at the right time, getting a lot of nice double hits in here. And we're on to phase 3.
Attack the Music not taking any chances, pulling out the blue potion. I am struggling to find things to say, but I don't know if there's much to say at this point in time, unfortunately.
Yeah, Attack the Music has done a really good job with Master Sword Ganon. It's not an easy fight to learn, and given that they did struggle a bit on Trinex, I was not sure what we'd see, but they're doing a very good job so far.
Yep, I mean, I've certainly overall a pretty clean kill. Was very efficient there in that phase 2, and does get the dot done.
And that's GG for Attack the Music, finishing in 30th place with a time of 2:09:10.
Still about 20 or so people wandering around, probably about to finish Ganon, or going through Ganon's tower, or maybe doing a full clear. And shout out to Cataclysm, sorry, finishing right behind at 31st place with 2:09:52, but a personal best by 20 minutes. So GG Cataclysm. And it looks like we're not going to be able to get ATM in here, unfortunately, has someone sleeping in the same room. So you're a braver person than I playing Zelda, because I tend to curse when things don't go my way loudly. But without an interview, I think that's going to do it for us. Isn't that right, Korik?
Yeah, I think so. So if you like what you saw tonight, please give these runners a follow. They put on a great show. Thanks for joining us tonight. I had a great time commentating with you, Vitasia. Vitasia.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Korik, as always. Always happy to be here. And another shout out to, again, Number Play and DT Kemps doing tracking for us, doing all the work for us.
Yeah, we certainly can't do this without having great trackers, especially with how this race started out fast. So thank you very much to our trackers.
And signing off, I guess, from here, my name's Vitasia.
And I'm Korek.
And have a good night, everyone. Remember, key sanity here in 40 minutes.
See you next time.